if you're having any trouble with your internet trying to work from home and you're trying to find a solution for it, I'm gonna recommend you watching this video. I'm gonna give you a few tips. We're gonna access the router and we're gonna check all the settings of it just to make sure that it's working properly. We're gonna be able, hopefully, if we find something wrong, we'll be able to improve your speeds, and we're gonna test it before and after. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure to go on 520 Smart Homes and click on the subscribe button, and then right after you do that, hit the bell and click on all notifications. That way every time I put out a video, you can get a notification. Alright, let's go back. So we are gonna go over here. That you see that right at there, it's 192.168.0. That's the IP address for my router. Now, each router has a specific IP address. In order to find that, you can either look on the sticker from the back of the router, or if you have a Mac, you can come over here, click on Open Network Preferences. Then you have to be connected either with a cable or with a Wi-Fi. So in my case, I'm connected with a Wi-Fi. I'm gonna click on Advanced, and then I'm gonna click on TCP, and then over here you're gonna grab that. You can copy it, and then you put it right there. If you have your factory credentials, it's gonna be admin, and then it's just gonna be password. That way it's gonna let you access into your router. So I was gonna ask me if I want to change it. I don't want to change it right now. So now this is gonna be your basically your dashboard. You're gonna have your cable connection, your wireless, network map. It can show you how many people are connected to your router at the moment, parental controls, ready share if you have either a hard drive connected to your router, and guest network. So now there is gonna be a few things that we're gonna go over here. Let's say since we're already here, your guest network. In my case, I could have the option to add a guest network to my router. That way people who come to my house to visit me can connect to the network without having to put in a password. I don't really like that because a lot of people, like, I don't know, let's see, people who walk around my house, people, who can basically get a signal, see it on their devices, are gonna be able to connect to and basically get free internet from me. So I have that feature disabled. If you feel like you can need it, if you feel like you normally use it, then you can leave it on, but for sure that's gonna slow you down a little bit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to cable connection, and now we're gonna look at this data over here. Basically what we're looking at here, it's the signal strength and the frequencies that we're using to operate this router. So basically here where you see power, basically this is the power that we're getting from the connection on coming from the cable from the street. So outside we have this pedestal. Even, well, if it's underground, it's going to be a pedestal. If it's aerial, it's just going to be the cable coming from the pole on the street. So right now it's saying that we're basically testing 4 different channels. We're getting 1.4, 0.7, 0.5, and 0.6. Basically, there is these values that we can work with. In this case, we want the numbers to be closest as zero as we can. Basically, when the installer comes and set up your router, they have to check the connection outside on the street first. They get a certain number. Let's say that they get 15 dBs outside. Then when they start installing the cable coming from the street to the side of the house, they already lost some values on that signal strength. Obviously, the farther away you get from that main connection, which is called the tap, the more these numbers are going to decrease. Okay, so this right here is a good number to work with. So if let's say you get 15 at the street, and then at the side of the house where you make a connection, you're getting, I don't know, let's say 8, then from the side of the house to where you have your router, you're already losing some more values, some more numbers there. So the signal is decreasing more. So in this case, with the kind of equipment that we're working, and with how my provider works, the closer to 0, the better it's gonna work. Okay, it can still go negative. It will go like -5, -10. The most you want to see is like -12 or 13. But once you get to those numbers, you are already starting to feel like it's not working correctly. You are not getting the right power or the right signal strength that you should be getting. Okay. And then once those numbers get too low, this number over here on the right is gonna start going up. Okay. So right now we're getting about 40, 41, 40. So that number is perfectly fine. But once it starts getting over 50, then you can even feel it on your router. Basically what these numbers means is that the higher this number gets, the more your router's gotta work to be able to provide good signal. Okay. So if this number is too low, if this number is too low, then the SNR is gonna get too high, and then you can even go and touch a router and it's gonna feel so hot because it's overworking. And that's because it's not getting the right power from the street or the right signal from the street. Okay, so I hope that helps you. There is some stuff that you can do here, like changing frequencies. It's not really too common that you need to do that because this is basically like it's basically like a band-aid to be able to fix the power that you're getting from the street. If your power is too low, you'll start seeing these too high, and then you can start playing with the frequencies to be able to kind of fix these ones over here. But the best way to make sure it's gonna work correctly, it's from the beginning having a good number right here. Okay. Then what we're gonna do next is we're gonna go to advanced. Oh, well, before that, we're gonna test it to see what we're getting here. So we're gonna run this speed test real quick. So now, right now we're getting about 8.1, or it's even lower than that. But that's bad because my plan is 50 by 3. So 50 megabytes down and 3 up. Okay, so right now, no, we're not even close to that on that downloading. So we got 7.7 by 2.2. Okay, and this is via Wi-Fi. Obviously, if you have the computer hardwired to your router, you're gonna get a stronger connection. But obviously 7.7, it's extremely low, and right now I'm standing like 10 feet away from the router, so pretty close. I should be getting pretty much close to 50, if not right there. So we're gonna go back to these. We're getting a good signal. We're getting a good SNR. Okay, so I'm not gonna worry about that. We're gonna go to advanced mode. Oh, it's gonna ask me to put my credentials again. And then over here, that's fine. We're gonna go to these. Let's see, we're gonna try this wireless channel. Okay, so right now, basically we have different channels where we can work the Wi-Fi on. Basically right now, there is about 18 different networks on this one, and that's where I'm at. There is no people on these ones. There is about 10 other networks on that one. 1, 3, 1, and 12. So we're probably gonna have to do something with this. Some more thing that you might wanna look at is your network map. Right now, I only have 2 devices connected to my router, and I know exactly which devices those are. One of those being my computer. And then You might want to also look if you have two different networks. Most of the times there is a 2.4 and a 5 gigahertz. Those are specifically made for different reasons. In this case, the 2.4 gigahertz will be for your small devices. That's how I recommend it. For your small devices like your cell phones, computers, laptops, tablets. So everything that is gonna be moving around the house. The difference between the 2.4 and the 5 is that the 2.4 is gonna have a longer range around the house, so it's gonna cover more distance, but it's also gonna be slightly slower. The 5 gigahertz is gonna have a shorter range, but it's gonna be a little faster. So the 5 gigahertz, I recommend that one for streaming devices. If you're gonna have, let's say, a PlayStation, an Xbox, or a smart TV that is gonna be streaming Netflix all day, or you know what I mean, right? So that's the main purpose of having two different networks. You put some devices on one and some other devices on the second one. But that's only if you have two different networks. In my case, I only have one network, so I don't have to worry about that. But if you have two, try to use them in that order. Okay. So and also keep in mind the guest network. Let me close this. So there is nothing else to show you right there. But basically, what we're gonna do here is we're going to advanced mode. We're going to administration. We're gonna check the channels again. This is something pretty useful, especially when you have 18 people. Basically, you're trying to work your way on the same frequencies that other people are using for their own Wi-Fi. This doesn't mean that they're trying to steal your Wi-Fi. This only means that that's basically the lane where they're working. Imagine you go on a freeway, right? And there is 18 people on the same lane that you are, but there is none here. So obviously you could be going faster if you were on one that it was totally empty. So it's exactly the same thing. So we're gonna go over and change these. So channel, we're on channel 1 and we're seeing the channel 2 was empty. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on that. But then also mode. Let's see what other options we have here. We're gonna put it on the highest, even though I only have 50 megabyte downloading. So this is supposed to be getting. I don't want to put any kind of throttle or any kind of limitation on my settings. So I'm gonna just put it at the highest, even though it's not gonna get all the way up there. So we're gonna put it on channel 2, and we're gonna put it on 450, and we're going to apply that. Make sure you click apply, so it does that function. Let's go ahead to see if it did it. Okay, so we're on channel 2, and we are on mode 450. So now we're gonna go back to advanced administration and wireless channel. I just want to see how it's gonna look over here. So see how now we are on this one. Now nobody's on channel 1, and that's because a lot of people have these ones on auto. Basically, auto is gonna choose your channel automatically. So let me see. I think this one might have it. Yeah, auto. Okay, so you could either put it on auto or you can leave it on one channel that was empty. So I'm just gonna leave it on that channel for now. And we're gonna go back to it. And still the same. Okay, so we're just the only ones on that channel. So now we can go ahead and check this again. So we were getting 7.7 and 2.5. We're gonna run it again. The ping seems about the same, but look at the speeds now. 48.5. 49. That's awesome. Basically, my plan is 50 by 3, so I'm just right there, 49 by 2.9. So this is via Wi-Fi, and I'm just standing about 10 feet from the router. So obviously, the farther away you get from the router, and the more devices you have connected to them, to the router, the slower this is gonna get. But right now, it's just right there, right on the spot. So we're gonna go back to basics, and then here, if you click on network map, it's basically gonna show you how many devices you have connected to the router. Obviously, if you have, let's say, a smart TV, computers, it's gonna be adding up. It's normal to see 10, 20 devices connected to the same router. Hopefully you can manage them to see maybe there is a few devices that don't need to be connected anymore. Let's say like an old laptop that you never use anymore, a cell phone that it's broken, you don't use it anymore. You should try to disconnect them from the router. That way, it's not taking up space, not taking up a connection to it. The less devices you have connected, the more the router is going to be able to focus just on those devices. Instead of trying to send signal to a lot of them, I will just send to a few of them. Okay, just to wrap this up, make sure to check out those settings on your router. Make sure you don't have more devices that don't need to be connected to the router. Make sure to deactivate them. Make sure that if you're not needing your guest network, to deactivate it. Some more things is the location of the router is going to be pretty important. If you have the device hardwired to the router, that's also going to be good. And then I guess that's it. Okay. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below. Okay. Hopefully you guys can find this video useful, and let me know what you think. Okay.